Hello, welcome back, my people. So today we are having amazing guests here, and we're going to discuss about something. And even before we introduce what we're going to discuss on, I just want them to introduce themselves as I welcome them to this channel. So welcome.
Thank you so much. My name is Boss Baby Rhoda. I'm a mental health advocate and the CEO and founder of Let's Talk with Boss Baby Mental Health Organization. Thank you.
My name is Joy. I'm a classmate of Prince Yuri and a close friend as well.
I am James Musioki, and I'm here to just give some spiritual guidance on this matter.
So the main purpose why we are doing this video is because we have been having an event and an incident that has happened to us. We just lost one of our friends to suicide. That was within this week. And I just thought it good that we might come and discuss and talk about matters health, mental health, matters mental sickness, the issues, maybe the suicide, and even get different insights from different people, my friends, and even a specialist in the mental health, and also a spiritual guidance on how we can cope up with these issues. I will start with asking my guest, Boss Baby, to explain to us what is mental health and also what is mental sickness.
Okay, mental health and well-being generally is the state of being mentally okay, whether emotionally, physically, and socially. The way you are acting, the way you're behaving, and the way you are connecting. Mental sicknesses or mental illnesses are as a result of you not being okay. So the state of not being okay, the state of not being generally well is what triggers or those are the sorts of mental issues that you have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Boss Baby. From that, Joy, you can just tell us what you understand maybe about mental health, though we've been explained to by Boss Baby. So you can tell us what you understand.
Okay. I think I'm learning a lot from the specialists because I actually thought mental health is not having depression. So I just classified it to just one type of mental illness, but I think as we go on we learn that there are more because of that definition. Definitely it's not just about depression. Yeah.
Maybe you can guide us in matters mental health. Maybe what does the Bible say about mental health?
You see, God, our Creator, when He created everything, He said it is good. So anything which is not good, God will not want it in His creation. So you can be sure that God wants for us mental health. He wants us to be healthy mentally. He wants us to be good. So yeah, it's something that God is concerned about actually for us to have it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Due to the recent events, I would just like us to interact with the guests that I'm having so that we can see on how to go about these things. First of all, we are going to look on what are the misconceptions of suicide, or what do people, when a person hears about the same, what comes in their mind, or what have you heard people talk about? Yeah, maybe Soki, you can tell us what you've heard maybe people saying about it.
Which is a misconception, right?
Yeah.
I think you see, people will think that those people don't love themselves or love others. That could not be so true.
That is good. And Rhoda, maybe you can add on that.
From the society that we've grown up in, they believe that mostly it's not just suicide. Most of the triggers that have come up with mental health is something that has been triggered. People believe it's sort of witchcraft or demons. Especially if you go to a Christian setup, when you're not careful, they might tell you that those that committed suicide, they've been followed by a satanic issue. But when you come to understand the concept of mental health, then I beg to agree with my brother that it is not just because you don't love yourself or you don't appreciate what happens around you. There are just several things that have triggered it, and when they are triggered, you're going to be okay. Thank you.
Yeah. But personally, I've heard many people talk about it. not just because of the recent event, but even previously. You know, you could hear people speak about the same, and someone is telling you like that is someone who has been mad. Maybe he has been possessed by a particular spirit, and we don't know these things. You know, learning helps us so much. Yeah, so it is good like we educate ourselves on matters the same, because you know, when we just have what we believe in, or have what we think is the thing that is affecting the same thing, it is going to be very hard. Jay, do you have anything you've had that might sound a misconception?
Yes. Due to the recent events, for those who do not know, we lost a classmate of ours to suicide, and it's really hit home because it was someone that we were close to. So you find people commenting on things like, I wouldn't be stupid enough to take my own life, or such comments. But when you know the person, you know that it must have been a big issue to her for it to lead her to get to the point of even giving up on life. So mostly the misconception of it's stupid to, you know, why would you be stupid enough to do that? Because that means you're not even dealing with the problem in the first place. You're just condemning the people who've done it, and that wouldn't change someone who's had triggers or who's tried to commit suicide before.
And it's so sad that as a society we tend to look at people that have committed suicide or attempted to be, you know, they are selfish. I mean, they're selfish with life, they don't care about those who will remain. You live near someone when you have attempted and maybe you survive, then like, you don't care about those people that you're going to leave behind. You don't care about those people, your children. You don't care about your relatives. And maybe this person has been alive and has been trying to tell these people the issues they are going through. But the society is full of judgment. You have a lot of stigma as a society. We don't take mental health as a serious issue. We all think that being mentally ill, you know, I mean, if you go to a place and you're asking just a random group of people, you can try this. You ask them, today if you were taken to Madare, what would you think about your life? Someone will tell you, mimi si mwenda wazimu, but doesn't mean because you're in Madare you're mad. There are so many types of mental issues, there are so many mood disorders, there are so many, you know, personality disorders, the likes of bipolar, and the people are admitted there, and with time they get treated. So we tend to feel like these people, they did a mistake. So as a society we feel like they are selfish, but then they've been going through this issue. What did we do about it? Maybe we felt like we just tell them, especially men have this habit. You know, you tell your that friend of yours, and then they like, mwanaume ni kujikaza, mwanaume una complain nini, you know, like they feel like you're not entitled to suffer. For ladies, you tell someone and then they go out here gossiping. So between you and now the person that has gone, who is being selfish there, you know, we need to really have this type of insight about mental health.
And you know, that has reminded me of many comments that I've gotten from my friends. Also, after the event has happened, you know, there are many people like, I cannot even have mercy on the one who has gone. That is our friend. And I've been thinking like, how do you just comment something absurd has happened to someone and you feel like it is so good?
What happens is people's mindsets are quite different, and the people, the society, as I said earlier, they have not yet embraced. My brother can agree with me that when you go to a Christian setup and then you're telling someone committed suicide, maybe if she had attempted and it failed, then she comes to a Christian setup, she be prayed for, the demons will be casted out, and maybe we forget that there was something that was triggering it. We need to treat this person, we need to accept them, we need to show them love, so that even when they fall back to the society, you can imagine what is going through the mind of the guy that was left by this lady. He's also going through a lot. But what are we doing as a society? You did this, we are not pointing fingers at him. Could be you told me you tried to reach him and he was not responding. Maybe because he feels like the pressure is too much, you know? So at some point we also need to be kind. It doesn't take a lot to be kind to people. I mean, you wake up in the morning and you might greet someone and someone akujibu vibaya because you don't know where they slept. You don't know what the demons that are going through their minds. Someone was telling me last week that if you look at us here, everyone looks okay, but the demon inside them, and everyone has it. Whether you're the pastor, whether you're the Christian, whether you are a abnormal person, whether you are a mad person, there's that demon inside. When you look at us here, hata tukiosha si wote na tuvalishwe poa, tutakaa vizuri. But then there's that demon, that kind of thing that is disturbing you inside. That is when you find out that sahi, if someone was walking here with a white shoe, there is a person ukimkanyaga na umwambie pole, they will be okay. But mwingine ukimkanyaga na umwambie pole atakuwa shakupindukia akakuslap. You know? So you find that maybe alikuwa na maishu zake, siku hata imekuwa mbaya tu, maybe outfit yake ndio ilikuwa inamfanyia siku yake inakuwa poa. Sasa umeharibu yote. Exactly.
That is so. So we're going to talk about we're going to ask our question, ourselves a question, and we are going to answer it on ourselves. Is normalizing to talk about it really helping? Is it really helping? And how do we handle it? How do we handle this person who is suicidal? I think that's when we are going to have insights from amongst us. Maybe Joy, you can tell us something about it.
Definitely having a conversation around it breaks down the stigma that people face, just for even having as small as just the thoughts. So I think talking about it will definitely help, and it will create a safe space for people who have maybe attempted or have been triggered before, so they can be able to talk about it and get help. But then again, I feel like sometimes people talk about it, about their issue, that is, but then the friends don't have the capacity to really deal with it, because not everyone is a specialist, and as much as we want to help our friends, we can't really, if we do not have the professional help. So I think it is of importance that even when someone opens up to you and you realize their triggers and everything, if you're not a therapist, it would be best to just nudge them in positive reinforcement that will move towards therapy, because therapy definitely is what will ultimately help them, because a therapy can be able to deal more with an issue from a professional angle as much as possible than a friend would. Yeah,
that is normalizing. Talking about it, by the way, it is very special. But now, maybe Musyoki, you can give us an insight.
First of all, you see, what happens is, it's true, there is the spiritual aspect of this thing. You see, many people know these things, and you see, what the society gives us, even if it is not, agreed universally, truth is always true. If gravity is there, whether you agree, whether you believe or don't, that doesn't matter. When you jump high, you fall down again. So you have to come and argue with some of these things. See, it is true, but there is an spiritual aspect to this thing. But then, it doesn't just end there. That is why she was saying, you see, just tell them they are demons possessed or something, then you end there. No, there is that process also into this thing. Because what happens is that the spiritual things come and affect the soul of a man. And so that interaction is really important. And so you have to come to talk about these things. So very, very important. You have to normalize it, as you say. You see, what happens is this, that as you say, God doesn't want this thing amongst us. It's true. But at the same time, what do we do when they come? Because they definitely come. You see, they are among us. They are already happening. Our instance here. What do we do then? Part of those things is that you see, it's not something which is not which is away from us. So if you don't talk about it, it will affect us the more. So it is said that a problem once shared is half solved. So you can always get a way out into this thing. And I can assure you, if you share, you begin to let's normalize it, both sides. Now when you share, don't just share for the sake of sharing. Share to the intent that it should be beyond. Because some people just share for the sake of sharing, you enjoy it, and person do it, there's nothing wrong about it. And again, you who have been shared too, also please make sure that you will act upon it. If you don't have the capacity to say, you can always refer. You can always look for. Let's talk to them. Let them, how about we refer you to this and that, and be very intentional about these things. Don't just pick up the stuff for kama kwambia too lightly, because some of these things taken lightly, they end up being big issues. You will never really act on them intentionally. Make sure you go and malize. You make sure yako sawa na zile yako sawa ya niko sawa. You know, because sometimes it's sawa. No, we very really, because these things they really matter. Our lives really matter before our maker, before ourselves. That's why I said even that person said that it really matter. Their lives really matter. So tafadhali let's share about this thing, and I know to say yeah.
And I'd like to say that I want to give an example. If today I saw a lie, I went to, this story always given, by the way, when we were young. Maybe a boy went to the grazing field, and then I don't know, he was playing, he came rushing back to the village saying, I've seen a lion, I've seen a lion. So the people came out to look, they didn't find any lion. So they knew he was joking. The next day he repeated the same thing. They came to rescue him, but they found that there was no lion. So the third day the lion now came. So the person screamed, but the people knew you always say this. So you're joking. This is what actually happened to our case. This person is used to talking to us, but then after talking to us, they always fall back. They talk to us, they relapse. In mental health, we call it relapsing. Maybe, you know, the challenge that you have in universities and colleges, even in our friends, like I come and tell you my issue, and maybe I'm a psychiatrist, I help you, or a counselor or anything, then I've helped you, then you go back to where we came from. The second time I do it, and then the third time, even as just your normal friend, I mean, I'll also get tired, and then I let you be. Because you see, I can't keep pushing you. So this is what has happened in our case. But then there's something I always tell people, being very keen on your friends, checking up on them. Motoki is my friend. He's actually one among those people that if they stay so long without checking up on me, he'll always ask, are you okay? How are you doing? If we all embrace that, checking up on each other, you know, having this deep, I call them open conversations. Do not lie to me to just please me. You feel like you're not ready to talk. When I don't want to talk to him, he can tell. I don't talk to him. I'll just tell him I don't feel like talking about it right at the moment. But then I find time and I feel free. I open up and I tell him. Or I go to my therapist, because I always tell people it's always good to be on therapy. The other thing is, you know, as a society, okay, for someone, people feel like it's very wrong to have these conversations, you know. But one thing I've loved about the Christian approach is, one day I was going to one of the care units for people that are mentally ill, and we went to say hi to them, and they were saying, my name is so and so, I'm saved, I love Jesus, can I sing for you a song? So sometimes you find out that it's not a place like Dadaab, which is a camp for the foreigners who have come here for refugees. Thank you. You find out that place, most of them are Muslims, others are Christians, others are the different denominations. So there it's very hard to, you know, bring the religious aspect of the therapist or a counselor. But then in a place where you can, it is always advisable. It is not always advisable. We don't have a religion, but then it is always good to embrace it. For me, when a client is open to religion, I feel like it is a very fast healer. It has worked for some people, and so sometimes, you know, I was telling my friends yesterday that sometimes it's always good to involve God, because God is the one who created this person we are talking to about mental health. He's the one who created the medicine that you are going to take, and still is the one who created that person in you. So you have to embrace the drugs if you've been put on medication. If you are supposed to go for therapy, be disciplined to your therapy, but also consult with God. You know, even as therapists, it doesn't mean because Collins or you've been my client that I'm not, after I'm done with you, I'm going to leave. You know, I always remain praying for you. You know, asking for God to give you the grace. Because if you go out here and you've not healed, you'll come back to me. Or you're going to relapse and then something happens to you. I will remain with that guilt also. Maybe I can remain, you know, asking myself, I wish I could have done better. So we still embrace religion, you know, depending on the needs of the client, and if they are compliant with whatever, you know, you have to also respect their space. But I think it's always good to do so. Yeah.
See, what happens is, you see, it's not even sometimes, I say all times, because let me tell you, God is our source. People will have some kind of misconception or believe that, you know, God is an option. No, it's not an option. you see, when for the fish, water is not an option. So is for any man. God is our source. He's going to do our nostrils to give us life. So we live by Him. So it's not an option. That's why part of the thing that we need to address here as part of the solution is this. You see, Bible says that God is so near to those who are broken-hearted. But look, you see, God knows who are His. He can't be near to you and you are running from Him. God doesn't force issues. God has given man a free will, and He honors it very much. So if you don't allow Him to deal with you, He cannot just come and try to push you be good. No, just leave Him. So it's very good. At the same time, allow God, give God the place that He has. So the basis of this thing is what? First of all, you connect with God. Connect is very, very key. You have to connect with God. And the only way to connect with God, really, as I say, true is always the one. Connect with God in the right way. And there's a man who lives in this world, and he's the only one who can see this. I am the way, the truth, and the life. See, look, Jesus is the only way to the Father. What guarantees that this man was true is that he said, to prove this, indeed I'll die and I'll come again. And truly he did it. So you don't have to worry about this thing. He's the only person who is just come from the dead, never to go back there again. And it is true to these things, proven. Meaning that truly He gives us access to God. And when we connect back to God, Bible says He's a friend that sticks closer than a brother. Yeah. So Jesus can always be with you. Friends will come and go. Friends can mess up with you. But the moment at that moment when you are desperate, Jesus will come there and He will speak to you. His love is so unending. So if you have that place for Him at you, always, even in such times, He'll always be there for you.
That is so amazing. Those are so good insights. Joy, do you have something to add?
Yeah, there's something we both mentioned, and it's reminded me of a quote. I think we were also talking about it yesterday, that it's okay to have Jesus and a therapist. You know, in the church, the issue of mental health is usually sometimes you find there are extremes. You find either they'll really avoid it, or it will be dealt with as maybe spiritual warfare or something of that sort, like she was saying, or even Colin suggested that sometimes it's like it's demons, etc., etc. But I think it's a conversation that really needs to happen even in the church, and to be normalized in the church, that you can actually speak to someone about depression, that it's okay to be depressed and still be a Christian, and that you can still be healed from it. Yeah, you can still come out of it and of that depression, and it doesn't make you less Christian than people. You know, I've noted that people in the church are putting on a facade that everything is going on okay. You know, not by power, not by might, but by the Spirit. Like there's all these things that we are using, scripture, etc., evangelism, just to show that. How can I be depressed and I'm a Christian? How can I have bipolar and I'm a Christian? You know, I am a new man, that old man died, you know, but why do people still backslide then? You know, it means there's something that we need to work on. Even that verse that says it is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. It continues to say that, and this life that I live by faith. Yeah, so every day is a small step. Every day is a small step. You need to live that life by faith. If it was not living it by faith, it was just automatic, then definitely we would not have these issues. So we need to normalize, and to anyone watching this and you're wondering, you're a Christian, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to not be okay sometimes, and to be okay sometimes and wondering what is going on with you. And it's also okay to reach out for professional help. Yeah, to see a therapist.
We say it is okay not to be okay, but not for so long. I mean, in our organization, we say that your voice is your power. Today I was reading a certain quote. I'm not sure if I'm going to quote it right, but just saying courage is a power of faith in prayer. The way you walk out here, it was like trying to refer that even in your own courageous way, you've been through so much sort of issues, but then there are prayers that come behind you. There are so many people that support. What I can say about all these issues, by the way, it's more of social support. Your social cycle That is all you need. And sometimes you don't need to be the very prayerful Collins, you don't need to be, but then you can have a person who supports you through prayers, a person who supports through checking up on you, a person who supports, sometimes we even forget ourselves. Joy would tell you maybe she has a friend who doesn't eat when they are low, but then she remembers to check up on them. So sometimes we just need to embrace our social cycle, and our friends are going to push us away in times of crisis. So you have also to be keen to note that this person is trying to push us away because they are not okay.
That's a very important matter, by the way, because we've had friendships that are they're not intentional. So you say someone is your friend, but you've not even checked on them like in the past 2 weeks and you're wondering why are they low. Ama you just have that kind of friendship when we are not okay, when I'm not okay or you're not okay, tunailanga, we sort our own issues, then we come back together in our friendship. And you know that is not real. That is not being real.
Yeah,
if it's a friendship, you should be accountable to one another. You should be able to open up to that person. You should be able to allow that person even to check up on you. Because there's that also. You find that you're being a friend to someone, you're calling them, you're checking up on them, but it's like they don't want you there. It's like you're being a bother to them and it becomes an issue, it brings a strain. So just being intentional with friendships, because definitely, as Boss Baby has said, this is something that a social support system could definitely help you get to the path of wellness. Yeah.
That is so good. And in the same line, I just want us to discuss about something small. Concerning the event that happened, there are some comments that I found that really were not so good, and they were in a spiritual context. Like someone someone replied in a spiritual context. Someone was saying that God is against suicide and all these things. Now remember, these are people who are living amongst us. These are people we are interacting with. We cannot say they are not God's people. If it happens to them, do we just throw them away? Do we not love them because they have done it? So we are not even going to give them a good send-off because the Bible does not support it. How do we do about it, Monsieur? Maybe you can help us.
You see, what happens is this: every man is very important for God. Even that lame, that blind, that the most rejected, the most you call them the subordinate or whatever thing, the less privileged society, they really matter for God. Even that madman, he is a creator. How do you create something without without doing power? No, he is a creator. So please let us ensure that we really understand that God values every man. To the last, he values every man. So that is why, see, Jesus said he came to seek and save the lost. So those people we call the lost now, they are the ones that Jesus is busy for, or is coming for. If you're saying you're for the Christians, Christ-like, you're pursuing what is the mission of Christ. You have to pursue the lost people. Yeah? And you see what happens is this. It goes, the Bible says that we share in those who are grieving. So they are grieving. You can't just leave them alone, just you grieve alone. No. Why? Because they still need us. You see, we these people together. And we can always address these things as I said that. So you don't throw them away, you don't just say, no, these people are evil or something like that. No. It's not that we are the ones who are special, so to say. It's just the grace of God. If not by the grace, you could not be well off as to say, like we are. We are saved by grace, not by works. So even if you are good, thank God you are good. So and then reach out to that other person who is not good and try to help them. And if those such things happen, let always make sure that we pursue until we fight those things. Just speaking again, in such instances, for example, when I received the news, I was with some brothers. We went into prayer. Just pray about it. So just come on, just speak. I never replied anyone. Just no, pray. That is the best response. So instead of going around speaking many things, what did you do as a solution? For example, pray about it.
Yeah, and it is the same Bible that tells us, mourn with those who mourn. It is. I don't think there's a place in the Bible that is said only mourn with people that mourn in normal death. It is very clear that there are people who are going to die. I mean, suicide has not started now. Funny, what happened to Judas? What do you call that? Exactly. And he was even a disciple of Jesus Christ. So we are not an exemption. Even people are doing it in church. I mean, it's just the other day we saw a pastor who committed suicide in the church podium, you know. And this is a man of God, he's serving God. Doesn't mean because he's bad. Even for Judas in that time, this person was suffering rejection. You know, he knew he has now betrayed Jesus. He's now facing reality. He's in denial. He doesn't even know how am I going to even face Jesus. Because Jesus had already said that one of you is going to do this for me, you know. Sasa reality kikuhit, unajua hivi ndo life ukua, hata mapenzi iko tu hivi. Like unafanya kitu then reality kikutandika ndio unakuwa. So you imagine your punch ukuja. So these are the same people. These people are just part of our life. They're part of us. So the moment it happens, we just mourn with them. Same way you would mourn this brother who got an accident, this sister who just fell sick, this person who just slept and never woke up, you know. Yes.
And sometimes we never know how these things are serious and it happens to you.
Exactly. Thank you.
Imagine that was a brother. You do just now, to condemn them and look at things and then say you don't mourn for you, don't bury you. Your brother, you won't bury them. I mean, so let's see. If you are really meaning Christian, in Christ they say there is no brother or sister, no male or female. Blood thing, no. If you really mean it, it is brother and sister in Christ. So to say, you will bury them as your brother who's blood, even if it is one who has done that. So don't just say it is. You wait until it happens to you. You know what it means to touch that. So don't comment this kind of they are really dangerous.
It's not always necessary to just make a comment in here. Sometimes you need to be cautious, you know. Be cautious about people's feelings, be cautious about people's, you know, their thoughts and behaviors, be cautious about their lifestyle. Sometimes you're going to make something as a joke and then for them it's not a joke. They are not perceiving a joke. Maybe it's something that happened to them. These words you're mentioning to them, it's something that is affecting them. You know, I was telling these people that imagine now you're seated somewhere 5 years from today, seated with a sister to Samantha, if you don't know that she lost her sister through grief. And then seated there, you're just conversing and you start telling them how you hate people that have committed suicide, how bad it is. And then this is a person who has lost a part of their life through that, you know. So sometimes we also have to check out on the things that we are saying, on what we are condemning, regardless of our religious backgrounds. Back to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I believe we've also got it wrong because Jesus summarized all the commandments into two. Love the Lord your God and what? Love thy neighbor as you love yourself. I love that he didn't even specify what kind of neighbor that is. So love thy gay neighbor, love thy depressed neighbor, love thy sick neighbor, love thy soul. If we really follow that, then we wouldn't happen to see such comments online because it comes from a place of insensitivity. It comes from a place of seeing yourself as better than other people. So if you believe it can't happen to, what is to say in the future that that will happen to your old child? And then you'll remember that is such a comment that you had made before, that it is happening to you now. You know, funny thing, we are very quick to judge, but you don't go back to biblical principles. There's also this scripture that says, give and it will come back to you. Press down, shaken together and running over. It doesn't say give good, give money, give faith, give love. It says give. So whatever you've given, have you given hate? Have you given love? Have you given in money? Have you given in what? It will come back running to you. Pressed down, shaken together and running over. So we really need to check, especially as Christians, because that one comment you've put has really spoiled for even other Christians who are okay. So you find that it puts a dark mark even on the rest of the Christians who are not condemning this thing, you know, who are not judging. So you find even people can't go to the church for help because of such people commenting online. Yeah, so it's a big issue. First, start by seeing that person as a human being first. Yeah.
Exactly. And I also wish about what they've been talking, sensitivity in everything. Let me just say, and sorry to say this, let's say for example, it is your own mother. Or for example, someone who's very close to you, very close. You know, it doesn't hurt till it gets to your comfort. It does not hurt, let me tell you. But till you experience it in you and you feel it in your flesh, you know, those people who are around these people are the ones who will feel them. As their friends, the family are the ones who are feeling the pain and are the ones who are even receiving. When you put the same comments, we are the ones who are being hurt, because now for the one who has committed the thing, they have gone. They won't be there to have the feelings, but it is us who are now feeling after them. You see, we are seeing. So let us be very sensitive, very sensitive. Whether, regardless of the religious views that we have, regardless of the anything, even traditional views that we have, let us be sensitive and let us even be open to learn, because in this world we don't know everything. So it is good we also learn and we unlearn some things. And now I'm just going to ask my guests to give their parting shot for today's video. I'll start with Musyoki, now coming back here to Rod.
So I'll say this, Proverbs 34:18, the Bible says, the Lord is close to those who are broken-hearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Yeah, Jesus said, talking, is a lot. In Matthew 11:28, he says, come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Most of these things, it's a quest of the soul, man. It's a quest of a disturbed soul. So the only sure place that we can get our rest, guys, is only through Jesus. It may seem, you see, Jesus' message is very simple, but it's very serious. So please, if you're suffering these things, it's a friend that's more than a brother. It's true. Just come to Jesus. It's very simple. Yeah, at that moment you will know that surely it will us. So my parting shot to everyone, you need Jesus in your life. At that stage, at whatever place, and that's what I said always God. And the way to God is Jesus. It's not debatable at all. So that's it.
I guess my parting shot would be, it's okay to not be okay. Hashtag mental health matters.
Yes, what I can say that our theme for this year is making mental well-being a global priority for all. It calls for our community action. It is we all need to be intentional and supportive as a society. Do not be stigmatizing people that have mental health issues. Let us stop being judgmental and all join efforts and embrace that being mentally ill doesn't mean you only need to be mad. You can still be looking very beautiful, dressing up so well, walking to that office, going back to your job each and every day, but deep down you're broken. You can be even giving us in churches, giving us the word of God. You're our manager, you're our CEO, but deep down you're not okay. So let us just speak up. We say that your voice is your power. Embrace speaking up, and let us also embrace supporting people that have mental health issues. Goodbye, guys. Thank you so much for having me, Prince Yavi, and I look forward to coming back here and sharing more with these great and very, very intelligent friends. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think I'm so...
You still invite us because we forgot to say thanks.
No, you'll be invited, obviously. Obviously. There is nothing... You just coming here, it's a big show, and there's nothing that can even bug me from inviting you. Yeah. So I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to you guys. At least we had to enlighten some of our friends here. Maybe people are watching from different parts of the world, and they might be enlightened on something. And my people, let us be very sensitive on matters mental health, because it is really affecting our current generation. And if we do not speak about it, even as Christians, then who will speak about it? So let us, what I'm going to finish is by saying that let us be so cautious, let us be so keen in these matters, and in everything, let us put God first. So bye-bye, until next time, do we meet?